Imagine that all is quiet, all is peaceful, all is calm, nothing goes on. And all of a sudden, there's fireworks, there's fire, there's action, there's activity. And that is the representation of this week compared to last week. In last week's video, I was discussing very few amount of astrological transits, and this week there's going to be way more. Because what we have going on is not only will the sun square Uranus at 1 degree of Virgo in Gemini, the sun being at 1 degree of Virgo, Uranus at 1 degree of Gemini, but we have Venus moving into Leo this week. And this Venus transit is going to be different than other Venus transits because it will make contact to all or most of the outer planets. Very, very early on, and all of a sudden, all bunched up together, all the outer planets at the very beginning of their sign, save for Jupiter. So, there's going to be a lot of aspects happening this week, and I'm going to break them down very, very carefully and very concisely in this video. I'm Ever Curdy, and I do videos on astrology, and then when I get done with the astrology videos, I will move on to spirituality and do videos on surrendering, acceptance, gratitude, letting go, you name it. That's what I will plan to do videos on at the time and garner. So, let us talk about the astrology for this week. From Sunday, August 24th through Saturday, August 30th, 2025. So, delving into August 24th astrology, what we have going on is the Sun at 1 degree of Virgo, squaring Uranus at 1 degree of Gemini, right at the very beginning of their signs. So, Uranus is the wild card. I like to think of it as you have a table, you have a checkerboard, and Uranus comes in and just um, obliterates that table, turns it upside down, makes chaos, but creates change that is necessary change. And it's not gradual, it's not nightstandish, it is very sudden, very abrupt. You didn't expect it. That's Uranus energy, kind of like how lightning is so sudden. You're just in the sky with clouds and then a sudden lightning bolt of energy. And Uranus is also linked to flashes of insight, flashes of new ideas, new downloads, new visions. And so when we have the sun coming to a square aspect with Uranus, and squares bring about change. They bring about the need for something to be altered around. And if we're refusing it, the square is going to really put us into action to make those necessary changes. And Uranus is all about change. So here we go. So the sun square Uranus. This could bring about expression of certain people, certain individuals, which is very violent and aggressive. This could be the classic out on the streets with placards, posters, protesting, or it could be violent physical or verbal aggression and action. Kind of like the astrology of the slap, which happened a couple of years ago. I believe it was at the Golden Globes, if you could think back to what happened then. Last year in the summer 2024, Donald Trump in America got shot. I believe it was in his ear, so that's aggressive action. And at the time, Mars was conjunct Uranus. So Uranus can bring about um, the the fixing of being very erratic. So what we want to do is we want to channel this energy in constructive ways. Because when we can learn to do that, when we can learn to put the pencils in the right statums, put the pens in the right stash, the right place, organize our desks, because Virgo is all about the organization. When we use our aggressive energy in constructive ways, that's how we can make the most of this energy. That's the highest use of this energy. We may be feeling very erratic and wanting to be very independent and free from social interactions, social restrictions. So, if there were any limiting, restrictions that we have going on, certain like you can't say this to the person, you can't garner this, you can't garner that, to where it becomes very, very limiting and impencilatingly difficult. Well, what we have going on is a need to rebel from social restrictions. That's where we're getting it very, very put here. Now, it's very important to not lose sight of your beliefs and ideals, to keep your visions active, to keep your ideas for what you want to manifest in your life active, and do not fall prey to playing the devil's advocate. If we're going along with the status quo of our life and it's going to feel more limiting during this time. We're going to be made aware of the limitations of our freedom, the limitations of our relationships, the limitations of our lives in general. Um, there is social norms, social rules that may be very restrictive, and we feel the sudden urge to break out and liberate ourselves. And this transit is saying this is the way to do that. This is the transit to do that. Now, you do want to be independent and free, but be open. Be open by asking, what advice do you have to give me about this situation, and receive the advice. Don't shut it off. Don't be so. This is especially the Virgo tendency, is being so caught up in loving to complain, loving to be fixed in the problem instead of looking to the potential of it, looking to the solution of it. So be open to that advice, be open to that solution, and receive the advice when you ask for it, because the advice is not meant with ill intent in it. I don't believe that most people put ill intent into their advice. Discernment is also key here also. So, there may be moments of misjudgment, like you misjudge the situation, you misjudge the person. They're not who they say they were. They're very, very different. That may be looked at now, where Uranus is about truth. It's about truth that liberates you. And if you have been lying to yourself, if you have been lying to others, if others have been lying to you, that truth will come right to the surface where you can see that and make a change based off of that truth. Act from that truth. So we need to also understand the limitations of our freedom. And I want to talk specifically about the people who suffer from OCD. I have suffered from OCD in the past. I want to own my authenticity right here, right now. Now I have gotten over a lot. Look at my hands. They're normal. 2 years ago they were cracked and they were dry and the skin was kind of raw on my fingers. But now they're normal because I have done the work to heal the OCD. I have done the work to not wash my hands so much. And by doing that, I have really, really gotten over a lot of the OCD. 2 years ago, the summer that I experienced was brutal. I was really, really deep into that OCD. So we need certain people, certain situations, certain limitations when it comes to our freedom, because if we're given the full freedom, we can engage in OCD, freely engage in the tendencies and the desires and the temptations and the compulsions without limitations. And sometimes you need people in your life that show tough love, that are very firm, that are very assertive, that want the best for you. And in order to do that, they may have to restrict you, and keep you from continually giving in and feeding the compulsion, feeding, doing all this kind of things like that. So we need to be mindful, be aware of our compulsions, and we also need to have healthy limitations and know when to rein things in. To where when things are not good for us on a mental and physical level, we know how to stop feeding the addiction. This may indicate blocked change and transformation. This is really where it goes very, very high leveled in the maker shiftings. So when we have change and things that we want to transform, we need to break through those limitations in order to do that. This talks about renewing your life in a positive way, making positive changes, taking positive action, whatever that may look like for you. We are independent and free. We're not projecting onto others. We're respecting their sovereignty. We're respecting their independence. We're respecting their uniqueness for who they are and who they want to be, who they authentically want to be. And so we need to have that understanding and openness and acceptance for people, for who they are and who they want to be. So respecting each other's sovereignties, not restricting them, not imposing on them. That's what we need to be mindful of. We may feel insecure about certain things. That may be also a thing here that we need to remedy. And so Uranus can be linked to mechanics and technology. So if your computer should fail or malfunction, don't try to put it back together yourself because you may be very, very unsuccessful. You may feel very sorry and remorseful afterward because you may sabotage yourself and try to fix it and then break it even more or not do it correctly or damage it even more than it's already damaged. Take it to a professional, have them do it. Mercury is out of retrograde now, so that person will more likely get it right and pay attention to the details. So go to a professional, go to the people who know what they're doing. Don't try to do it without knowing what you're doing. Novices in the world, go to that professional person and get your computer fixed. Don't try to do it yourself. That's the moral of the story here. Now, what this can also bring about is it can bring about outbursts of anger. You may get very, very angry all of a sudden. Ego control, being very egoic, having conflicts, butting up against, ramming up against somebody else's ego. So that may come about at this time. Yeah, there's a card from Call It Baron Reed's Shaman's Dream Oracle called the Dust Devil. And I happen to have that deck and I really love using it because the artwork is absolutely stunning on it. I highly recommend you go buy it and add it to your collection. It is by Call It Baron Reed and yeah, Alberto Villoldo. And it's just wonderful deck. Anyway, there's a card from this deck called the Dust Devil, and the message is clear. Get out of stagnation. So, I think what this means symbolically is like if you're in a desert and you are, you're tired, you're bored, you're not very energetic, you're stagnating, you're being an armchair astronaut, you're not successfully getting out of that desert because you're trapped in it. So we need to break free of the stagnation. If you have been putting off dealing with certain things like exercising, could be reading, could be that phone call that you need to have, whatever it is. If you have been putting that off, if you have been procrastinating, now is the time where this energy is going to illuminate for you where and how you've been procrastinating so that you can take action and be proactive when it comes to that. Shake up the things that need changing. That's also very, very important. Create the necessary positive changes in your life that you need to create and that you want to create. Uranus brings change. It could also be change in appearance and self-esteem. You may want to change your appearance. You may want to be more confident in yourself. And if you observe that you don't have high self-esteem, you want to raise the bar on your self-esteem and have higher self-esteem for yourself. And another really, really key message, circling back to what I was talking about the compulsions and unconscious impulses, break free from your addictions. Break free from those limiting patterns. Now, That's not the only thing going on August 24th. Jupiter will trine Black Moon Lilith at 16 degrees. I believe it's 16 degrees of Scorpio. So Jupiter is in Cancer, in the middle of Cancer right now. Lilith is in the middle of Scorpio. So this is a time with this trine to that your boundaries may be tested, but you need to break free of your limitations, break free of your boundaries, and expand your horizons. Go travel to a new place, read a new book, try a new dish. Put a new lamp in your room, put a new pillow casing, put a new green wall, put a new white door in your room. These kind of things, these kind of, even if it's the smallest changes that you want to make, learning new things, doing all those things is very important. Break free from any self or other imposed restrictions and be your real and raw, authentic self. And don't care what other people think. Because people will judge. Not everybody is going to like you expressing your new self. Some people will reject your new self. So just know that and accept that and be yourself fully and authentically, especially because this is a harmonious aspect between Jupiter and Lilith. Um, there may be certain individuals out there who may be closed-minded or resistant to new information, new ideas, new beliefs, new solutions. But now they're ready to hear it. Now they're ready to receive it. Now they're ready to make the changes that need to be made and fix the issues that need to be fixed. So this is a time to fully push beyond your boundaries and limitations you set for yourself and that others have set for you. So, again, that's more confirmation there. Trust your instincts, openly express your beliefs without projecting onto others, and inspire others, up, up level others. We lift others. Um, put a fire under them to greatness, to become great, to be great, to do extraordinary things, to do very significant things in their life. Now, let's move on to the astrology of August 25th. I just want to acknowledge that today is the day that Mercury leaves its post-retrograde shadow. It is at 15 degrees of Leo. It moves on from that point. This is the end of the Mercury retrograde season, and now we see the events that happen around about July 18th in a very, very different way. So we're out of the Mercury retrograde. Mercury is a new territory. Mercury will move into new territory. We're free. What we have going on August 25th is that Venus enters Leo, and this is significant because it will be in Leo until September 19th. So before we get into the aspects, I want to discuss um, the energy of Venus and Leo. What does it mean on the general level? So if we're coming in, we don't have any idea what Venus and Leo is about. We need to have a solid base understanding of what this is about. And I've talked about it before on previous videos in previous years, but I want to talk about it in this way now. So the focus becomes on your creative gifts, on your creativity. And that's what you value. You value your creativity, singing, writing, dancing, painting, whatever it is. That's what you value because Venus is a value and personal values. Your creativity becomes a very, very big focus. Another aspect of this is Venus and Leo people want passionate, dramatic, dynamic relationships. And so you may feel like you want to put some fire, burn some fire in those relationships and have fun, have excitement in those relationships. And this is a time to be authentic, to go for what you truly want, to shine in your relationships, to be the one who is adored and the attention being put on you in your relationships. So definitely put the focus there. Venus in Leo is both big and loud. Allow yourself to shine. Give yourself full permission to pursue what it is that you're passionate about. Leo is about shining your light, embracing the fullness of who you are. Now, Leo energy is also inner child energy. There's one part of us that needs security, that needs nurturing. That's Cancer. But in Leo, it's fun, it's creativity, it's excitement, it's exuberance. So this is time to really feed and nurture our inner child. Whatever your heart is calling you in the direction of, not your logical brain, getting out of your left brain, because Leo rules the heart energy. So what does your heart want? What does your heart crave? Go in that direction. Follow your heart at this time. Define relationships on your own terms. Venus energy is about social trends and grace. Very, very important. This may create a new way of thinking. Very This can bring about issues related to fashion, beauty, and self-care. So, in terms of love at this time, we want magnificent and magnanimous and grand gestures of love. That's what we want now. This is a time to be generous in love, to give so much from your heart of what you want to give in love. We may feel more generous at this time. Feel very expressive, very proud. We may be stuck in the romance phase of partnerships. Leo is about romance and that state of being very romantic. So we may be caught into that. We may be stuck a ducka in that. But what we need to do is get out of that. Well, stay in it where it can serve us now. So Leo is related to romance. That's the moral of the story here. Leo wants the attention. Leo wants the spotlight put on it, him or her, he or she. Um, and so it wants validation. It wants others to adore and love and enjoy the presence of the Leo energy. There's a love to be adored and also love of pampering that could be good here. This is good for partying. This is good energy for drama, plays, theaters, acting, jewelry, and art. Any kind of art, beautiful for that because Leo is a very creative energy. Generosity and warmth are very, very big themes for this place. So, for this transit. So, let's move on to the aspects. We have several aspects. The first of which is a trine to Saturn. Venus at 0 degrees of Leo. As soon as it moves into Leo, it will trine Saturn moving retrograde at 0 degrees of Aries. Now, on September 1st, Saturn's going to go back into 29 degrees of Pisces. It's going to hang out until stationing direct in November of this year, and then moving forward up until February 13th of next year when it moves into Aries full time. But anyway, Venus trine Saturn. Venus Saturn energies are asking the really, really big question. And I've said this before, I've repeated this before. Are your relationships meant to be for the long term? Can you hold on to them for the long term? Um, are your relationships long-lasting relationships? Are they committed relationships? Do you have mutual respect for your partner? Does your partner have mutual respect for you? That's a very, very big thing to look at. So work through the problem. If any problem comes up, work through it, find a solution. It's a good time for more formal social engagements. It's very, very good for that. Especially if they are high standing, very professional, very elegant, very elaborate, very high class. Um, and so engagements and relationships that stress the importance of respect and tradition and conventionality in those relationships is really, really good to put your focus on at this time. This is good energy for investing in art and jewelry. You want your relationships to be very mature, very practical, to serve a practical purpose and application. Your views on love and relationship may mature very well in you. So you may have some set views, but then you have different views after the end of this transit is over. You want your love to be solid, like you want to lay the foundations in your relationship very, very solid. Financial gain. This is big. Financial gains could be the potential for that this time. And what could also be the case is resolution of past difficulties. There is this finishing up of the past and its hardships. Now, August 26th, we have Mercury in Leo at 16 degrees, square Lilith and Scorpio at 16 degrees. Leo and Scorpio are both fixed signs. They overlap the two polarities of the fixed signs. So, what does this mean? Well, we could be overcoming a lot of deep insecurities that we have made or created, or that we're experiencing a lot of insecurities, and we're overcoming challenges. We need to express our authentic self at this time unapologetically. Intensity is in the air. You may feel things very, very intensely, and there may be intense interactions with others. Now, you may have a very, very strong desire for freedom and independence, but what could happen is that this may mean that you are very disrespectful and rude to others, rebelling against them, being free in your independent self. So being mindful of that is also very important. Listen to advice given to you when you ask for it, if you ask for it, and give wise advice back um, to others. Make sure that they're the right people who are receptive to that advice. So this could bring about sexual attractions. It could also bring about scandals and darkness. Trust your gut. Follow your intuition. Make decisions based off of what your intuition is trying to tell you in the direction that you're being called to move in because of your intuition. Also, make decisions because of your emotions and instincts. Follow your emotions, follow your instincts. Trust is very, very important at this time. This brings about adaptability, so being very flexible and open to newness. Be more active and get involved with your relationships. If you haven't been involved, now's the time to step up to the plate. Okay, so Venus sextile Uranus. This is the next big aspect that Venus is making to the outer planets. So Venus sextile Uranus is next. Venus at 1 degree of Leo, sextile Uranus at 1 degree of Gemini. So there is a need here for fun and excitement in your social life. Any types of joy, newness, novelty, what all those kind of things. You want that fun and excitement, This is good for entertainment and creativity. This is also good for expressing your loving nature with flair. So being very loving, being very open to that love, very important. Um, you may form unique relationships, or you may have already formed unique relationships, but you're putting more time and energy onto those people who are more unusual, who are more eccentric, who are very unique and interesting, that are out of the box type people. Others might inspire you to create art, such as poetry, paintings, sculptures, pottery, songs, fiction writing, whatever it may be. You may feel inspired from either yourself or others to do that at this time. Um, This is good energy to start brand new relationships from scratch. Clear out the slates, make a clean slate, start fresh with those new relationships. You may be having unusual taste in art and relationship at this time. There may be shifts in finances going on. Um, you may find that you have there's a group organization involvement to serve the greater good. So it's good at getting involved in serving humanity, serving the greater good. Speaking of serving the greater good and being charitable, the next aspect is Venus trine Neptune at 1 degree. Um, Neptune is at 1 degree of Aries. Venus is at 1 degree of Leo. They are trining. So after Venus sextiles Uranus, it goes on to trine Neptune. So this brings about new creative breakthroughs, wanting to be creative, doing the creative things. But what this can also be really, really good for is relationships because of your empathetic and compassionate nature that you show in your relationships and understanding of others' experiences, understanding what they're going through, be it positive or negative. Um, there is this desire to make a difference in the world, to make a difference in others' lives, to selflessly serve others without expecting anything in return. The selfless service is very good this time, good for charity. You may feel more tender at this time. It's good for getting lost in movies because Neptune rules film. It rules movies, it rules television. So getting lost in movies that looks so real, yet it's not real. Do what makes you feel relaxed. Do what you find beautiful. And do what you find fun and entertaining for yourself and others. Um, okay, so when connecting with others, you don't want to do it in a superficial, surface level kind of way. Connect with them on a soul level, on a very, very deep soul spiritual level. This is good for being spiritually and intuitively in tune with others in your environment, to other people in your environment, to what they need, to what they want, to what their ideas are. If they need nurturance, if they need inheritance, or if they need a prison, whatever the life area and terminology might be, this is where, um, you know, connecting with others, being in tune with them in your environment can pay off for you very, very well. So, what this could also be is past relationship issues may bubble to the surface to get healed and acknowledged. So, if there is any falling out in the relationship, if there's any rough edges in those relationships, if somebody has driven the wedge in the relationship, if there is a misunderstanding, whatever it may be, it's good to smooth over those rough edges, make amends, draw the olive branch, fix those relationship issues, and heal those relationships. So you may lose yourself in relationships. You may, because Neptune has no boundaries. It is merging with the one where Virgo is the opposite, where you have boundaries, are very, very aware of yourself and all your mental, physical functions. Neptune just wants to dissolve and mesh in with somebody else, just melt into somebody else. And so you may lose yourself, your needs, your wants, your ideals, your beliefs, your goals. You may lose sight of that, being so caught up in the relationship. So draw the boundaries, have self-awareness, and don't lose sight of it. So connect with others deeply, but maintain healthy boundaries. Represent the separation between you and them. You don't know where others end and you begin, or vice versa. So this is also good for advancing your finances through creativity and art. Advancing these things very, very casually and very positively. Okay, so the last aspect that Venus makes is on August 27th, and that is in opposition to Pluto moving retrograde at 2 degrees of Aquarius. This energy of Venus opposite Pluto, Pluto is the planet of power. It was found in 1930, right before World War II. So Stalin, Mussolini, Hitler, were coming into the big focus at the time. And so they were very power hungry people and they held a lot of power in them. So we can look with this transit, this Venus opposite Pluto looks at the unhealthy use, the abusive use, the shadowy use of your power and also other people's power. Issues such as jealousy can come about, you wanting something that the others have and you don't think that they should have it, you should have it, emotional manipulation, and power games in relationships. This could also bring about obsessive compulsive tendencies, which may be hard to rein in and hard to control at this time. It could also be in relationships. That could be one option for this. Mm. What you want to do is you want to have your intense desires, but go after them in a controlled, responsible, mature, tightrope way. That's what you want to do. Any power imbalances in relationships will come into focus at this time. You want to be open and honest about your feelings in relationships. It's very, very important. There may be power and control issues in relationships. Um, be mindful of if you are manipulating others or if they are manipulating you. Do not bow down. Do not give in. Do not just people please and give in to that manipulation as best you can. So, what are your feelings telling you about your inner world? What are those feelings that you have and how they reflected back to you inside yourself? What you're going through emotionally, all these kind of things like that. Reflect on your motivations and consider where your ego is out of balance. So, this is huge. So, what are you motivated to do and balance your ego? So, reclaim your personal power in ways that is empowering to you and respectful to those around you. That is empowering to you. You feel empowered, but it's also a concept called compassionate prosperity. It's what I'm going to do and affect others in a positive or negative way and do what affects others positively as opposed to negatively. Okay, so that is your astrology forecast for the week of August 24th. Let me know what you like about this week down in the comment section below. Like this video, subscribe to my channel, turn on your notifications, and I'll see you in the next video, which will be all about Mercury and one of its home signs of Virgo. In a couple days' time, I will come out with that video, Mercury and Virgo in the birth chart in astrology, so stay tuned for that. Um, and I will be posting short imaginative astrology posts to tie you over between official YouTube videos. You can also check out my short form content of those posts. And anyway, bye for now.